He scored! He's around the outside! And he scored! He scored! App State wins! Holy mother meatballs!
Welcome back to the A-Game. I'm Kenzie Porter.
I'm Emma Ficker.
And I'm Nick Goodman.
App State's men basketball continues to fire on cylinders as we approach the end of the season. What are your predictions on the outcome of the Mountaineers in the upcoming Sun Belt Championship?
I'm looking forward to seeing how far App goes in the Sun Belt Championship. They played Georgia Southern most recently, where Terrence Harkin put up a season high 26 points. Justin Abson had a career high of 20 points and 4 blocks. And so going into the Sun Belt Conference tournament, I think it's going to be interesting to see how their shooting continues, how their defense continues, and I think that might be key for their success.
Yeah, I agree with a lot with what Emma said about App State basketball. I mean, they had a crazy week. They played a couple games in Georgia that were closer than you'd think against Georgia State and Georgia Southern, but they were able to pull out and get some wins. I think it's important for them to get that top seed in the Sun Belt Conference to try to get themselves the best matchups they can as they get to the conference tournament. Justin Abson in particular, I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. I mean, he nearly had a Wilt Chamberlain-esque triple-double against Georgia State, having 15 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 blocks. And then he followed that up with a career-high 20 points against Georgia Southern in the game-winning block. I mean, if Abson continues to play this aggressively, if he keeps playing like this, I feel like other teams are not going to be in a position where they can stop him, Spillers, and Gregory. They're going to have to key in on 1, maybe 2 at most. There's no way teams can really stop all of them. This is, in my opinion, the best App State basketball team that we've had since Coach Kearns has been with the Mountaineers. But the only thing I'm worried about with this team heading into the conference tournament is just teams that can shoot. And I'm interested in seeing what they'll look like against Louisiana. Georgia Southern isn't a great team, but they gave them a lot of trouble with their three-point shooting. But I want to see what a team like Louisiana, who's a better overall basketball team, who's the best shooting team in the Sun Belt, what they look like when they play App. And that's the only thing I'm really concerned about. Besides that, this is a really good team.
I agree. I think, like you mentioned with Louisiana, it'll be interesting to see how they play against them since they won last year. But I think it's in our advantage that we did win in 2021. So we have the experience. We know what it's like to get there. And I think a lot of it comes down to your mindset. If you go into an area that you're used to, they've played there before, they've been successful at the championship. So you have that on your advantage where other teams might not have that coming in. So I think as long as they keep their mind right and keep their calm manner about everything, that everything should be successful.
I agree. I think that as long as their shooting is going as well as they're going, their defense is Justin Absence, Terrence Harkin, Trayvon Spillers, just all of the key players that Nick and Kenzie both mentioned. As long as they're doing well, I think that they're headed into a good Sun Belt Conference tournament. App State softball is set to start their season this Friday. What do you guys expect to see from the Mountaineers this weekend and as the season as a whole?
App State softball, they're going to be looking to try to rebound after last year. Last year was actually the first losing season they've had in 5 years. Not without their bright spots, though. They did beat their first ever ranked opponent in Louisiana. And they do got a lot of players coming back. They've got an outfielder in particular, Katie Houston, who's a preseason All-Sun Belt Conference player. She'll be leading all the returners. She's been a top 5 player at the plate throughout her career with App State. In particular, last year, she had her best year as a Mountaineer. She was 4th in the Sun Belt in batting average. She's been an all-conference player twice. She was second-team all-conference last season, first-team all-conference the year before that. So it's good to have that experience coming back. App, though, they did finish last in the Sun Belt. They're expected to finish last. The biggest thing they really need to do, though, to try to improve and be better next year, they just have to clean up their fielding errors. They led the Sun Belt in errors. They had 70 as a team. They were dead last in fielding percentage. It was at .954, and they had 3 players in the top 10 in fielding errors. So they can't be in a position with a conference as difficult as the Sun Belt where they get in their own way. They can't give runs and give bases for free to other teams, or else they're going to have a hard time. But they still have potential. They've got continuity with their same coaches and players coming back. They could be pretty good this coming year.
I agree. I think it's important they bring the culture that App State has within football, basketball, wrestling. We've had pretty successful seasons all around, so I think it's important we bring in the culture and what we expect from our athletes and from one another as teammates. in that you have the grit, the competitiveness that the coaches talked about that they have seen from the 8 new players. And with it going into her 7th season, I think that's on their advantage. And she holds one of the winningest records at App State in the softball coach. So I think that they have some good things to look in their corner at, but also you have to stay collected and keep yourself prepared whenever you get in those tough times.
I agree. I think that Shelley Horner is going into her 7th season as a head coach, so she knows what she's doing as a coach. Again, as Kenzie mentioned, she's the winningest head coach in App State softball history. So there's 8 new players as well, like Kenzie mentioned, and just getting off on the right foot at this Elon Classic that they're playing in this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's 4 games, so just getting themselves off on the right foot, on the right start, and getting just to start the season is essential.
Yeah, I think as you guys mentioned, that just having that continuity, not just with players, but with the coaching staff coming back, I think that's big for this team. And also the way they start the year is going to be tough because there's just so many road games to start the year. Even though they will play starting this Friday, they don't have a home game till the end of March. But moving on to wrestling, App State's wrestling team secured a win this past weekend, bringing them to 5-3 overall. What do you expect from this team this year?
I think the wrestling team is just now getting started. I think they're going to have a great season. They won the wrestling championship last year, and that was the first time since 2018. Coach John Mark Bentley was named SoCon Coach of the Year for the 6th year, so they have a great coach in their corner. And this past Sunday, they won 8 of their 10 matches, so they're being like a great team. They just have to keep that going. We only have a little bit left in the season before we enter the championship, so just staying healthy and staying focused to continue on this grind that they're on.
Yeah, and this past weekend when they played VMI, they had it's a SoCon conference win, and they had Chad Bellis, who had a win via major decision. Also Cody Bond and Tomas Booker, they had wins by decision as well. And so they've just had those key wins in that match this past week, and so as long as they continue that, I think that they'll have a good rest of their season.
Yeah, I've had a solid bounce back win against VMI, as I mentioned. Having all 8 of their starters, or typical starters, all won their matchups, 8 of their 10 matchups overall. So it was an overall dominating showing. This team has gotten off to a solid start, even though their 5-3 record would lead you to believe they're just a little above average. Those losses are to some tough competition. I mean, they lost at home to North Carolina State, but North Carolina State is currently 8th in the country. They've beaten up on a lot of wrestling teams this year. Their only 2 losses are to other teams that are also in the top 10. They lost at Virginia Tech, who's now number 13 in the country. And they took a tough loss a little bit ago, right before the VMI game against Campbell, which is not ideal, but Campbell was expected to win the SoCon, so that's not. They've lost to a bunch of really good wrestling teams on top of going to Duke and beating North Carolina. They actually dominated Duke. They beat them 44-0. So they went into Duke and just ran right over them. They got some really good players on the team too. Tommy Ashke has had a really good start. He's 15-4 on the year. And I feel like this wrestling team, they're definitely going to go places. They definitely are in a really good spot as they're trying to figure out exactly what their top rotation is.
I agree. I think that it's important that as they go into this, that they continue to keep the grind that they are on and not get in their heads. For example, Campbell has won the SoCon since 2018 up until last year. So I think it's important that you don't get in your head over little things like that and just keep the positive wins that you have in your corner and looking at those versus the negatives. Stay where you are. When we get back, we will hear from Hunter and Cody for the weekly rundown.
My closet is full of shoes too. So yeah, everybody look and see this. So yeah, I got boxes on boxes. It's a lot. I probably have around 100 pair of shoes. I took a drawing and painting class in my senior year of high school. So I've been doing it probably like 2 years now. With the March Madness hat, yep. And the Sun Belt Conference hat. Kobe, MJ, and LeBron, those are 3 favorite players. Probably I'd say MJ #1, then Kobe, and then LeBron. This is where I go get some shots up, work out, especially since when COVID happened, I was out here all day because none of the gyms were really open and stuff. Yeah, my sister plays volleyball at Virginia Tech, so we had this when she was here. It was really competitive around the house, especially like with my dad. I used to always play him one-on-one. Going with my sister, we were always competitive against each other, especially like on the court, off the court. Like anything we did, we were always trying to beat each other. Whatever they do, volley or whatever. Yep, we're headed to where I've been working out in the summer. Every like 3 or 4 days a week, just been working. I actually came here yesterday, worked out and everything, so it's a cool place. Got turf and everything, got weights, just a cool place to come out, work, stuff like that, yeah. So, Mr. McGill.
You don't get taller on me?
How you doing?
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. You get taller and taller. How tall are you now?
I'm 6'10".
And what shoe size? Babe.
18.
Woo.
My 9th grade, freshman year, since my senior year of high school, gym right here, 2020 state champion right there. It was good to go out with a bang, going out with a 2020 state champion. My junior year, played Carmel Christian, so we played Donovan. We played Donovan here. I had 19 that game. It was awesome. We always talk about the game and how we won.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Been growing?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, alumni here.
Yeah, that flew over the. What then was Backyard Burger, but now Comeback Shack.
Putting weight on, and
Yeah.
are they sending you pizzas at like 11:30 and things of ice cream and stuff?
No, not yet.
I wish I had my shirt on. I got my CJ
I know.
shirt.
Yeah.
If you would have told me, I would have worn it.
Yeah.
I like the hair too.
Thank you. It's amazing. Just have everybody love me and everything, and I love what I did for Davidson Day and the program here, and just want to give back one day and everything. We have so much support, especially as the app community, and everyone here has so much support for me, and it's just awesome. It's a loss for words for it.
Welcome back to the A Game. Cody, kick us off with this week's rundown.
I'd love to. The Super Bowl is this Sunday. We're going to see Patrick Mahomes in his 4th Super Bowl and Brock Purdy, the final pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, in his first. The Niners are slight favorites, and it's bound to be a good one. What is your Super Bowl winner and final score prediction for this Sunday?
I got to go with the 49ers. I picked the 49ers in preseason, and we're going to stick with them there. I think it's going to be a 31-28 game, and I think Brock Purdy's going to be the MVP.
I'm disagreeing with you here. Patrick Mahomes has not had a turnover in the playoffs. This Chiefs defense is averaging their opponent scoring under 14 points per game in the playoffs. I think it's a defensive game. I think the Chiefs win 24-17. I think Patrick Mahomes wins another Super Bowl MVP.
Guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree there, but golf superstar Jon Rahm made his LIV Golf debut last weekend. It was Rahm's first appearance in an event since signing an over $300 million contract with the league. The former Masters winner came in 3rd place. So Cody, what are your thoughts on Rahm's move, as well as your take on the golf world as it stands today?
It's a total win-win on the move. Rahm has 20 career wins, 2 major titles, so that's what LIV is getting. And then, of course, Rahm's getting $300 million, which is great for him. And it's something that I think we'll see more now after the merger between LIV and PGA, and golfers are going to get their fair share, a lot more money, which I think is great.
I'm all about getting your money when you can. $300 million to play golf, do it. Golf is a surprisingly hard sport to play. I mean, it's hard to play, but these guys, their schedules are ridiculous. So take all the money you can while you're still able to. In the golf world, I think it's only better for this because LIV has made the PGA better. The PGA has allowed the LIV to kind of take some stuff, and I think it just makes everyone a lot better off at the end.
Clayton Kershaw is staying in Los Angeles. The soon-to-be 36-year-old will return to the Dodgers this coming season, but is expected to miss the first half of it after undergoing shoulder surgery in November. Before the injury, Kershaw posted a 13-5 record with a 2.46 ERA and 137 strikeouts. How big is it for the Dodgers that they're hanging on to Kershaw here?
I think it's huge for the Dodgers. Now, Kershaw isn't the guy he used to be, but he's the face of that franchise, and getting him back is great. And he doesn't even have to be really good. They got guys like Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glasnow now. So just go in there and be you, be the face of this franchise, and just do your best.
I agree 100%. Definitely not what he used to be, but the 10-time All-Star showed last season that he still has some in the tank. And then this pitching rotation between the guys that you named, it's going to be so stacked that the Dodgers are going to be a great all-around team, and I think he'll be a pretty big part of that.
Let's keep it with baseball, with the Milwaukee Brewers trading their starting pitcher Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles. The former Cy Young winner was traded for 2 prospects and a draft pick. He looks to join a team stocked full of young talent with Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, just to name a few. Cody, just how big of a move was this for the Orioles?
It's massive. The Orioles are kind of doing the opposite as the Dodgers, but doing it in a great way. They've done it the right way, building up, doing a rebuild, and now it's worked out perfectly. I think this rebuild, they have so much young talent. They're getting Corbin Burnes as not a veteran, but a guy who's going to really service you for the next couple of years very, very well. I just think with the prospects, they didn't even give up most of their best prospects. Wait until you see Jackson Holliday. This team's going to be great for the next few years.
They really played their cards right with the rebuild. They got the young talent, and now they're pushing all their chips in with a big name like Corbin Burnes. He's not how he was when he was a Cy Young, but with the new change of scenery, I'm not betting against Corbin Burnes on a new team.
With the Super Bowl coming up, both teams want to be in a perfect headspace, but the 49ers may not be. The Niners were left upset by the practice field they were given before the game. They've been practicing on UNLV's practice field that is said to be soggy and, quote, sponge-like. Shanahan said later that they're good not changing fields and that the players are fine with it. Hunter, is this something or nothing?
I think it's nothing. I think these are NFL players out there. You let them play football on any surface, they're going to do good. And when you got a guy like Brock Purdy leading the way, you saw him after the NFC Championship. They were hyping up. He's a stone-cold killer. Nothing's going to knock him off his game.
I agree. No matter who said that it is a big deal in the Niners and complaining about it, at the end of the day, the coach said it's fine. The players said it's fine. If it's that big of a deal, it should have been stated before now, but they seem to be okay with it. So I agree. It's nothing. It won't make a huge difference for NFL players when it comes down to the big game later.
The Las Vegas Raiders thought they had a big name for their new offensive coordinator role. Unfortunately for them, he dropped out just hours after reports ran rampant I'm talking about Cliff Kingsbury, who, after reports that he was landing in Vegas, pulled his name out of contention and looks to be a front runner for the same job in Washington. Cody, was this as big of a loss for the Raiders as some fans believe?
It was, because right now Cliff Kingsbury, he's struggled in the NFL, but he knows how to coach quarterbacks. He's helped develop Johnny Manziel at A&M. He helped develop Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. Later on, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and most recently at USC, he's helped develop Caleb Williams. They've been fantastic. They've been proven, and I think right now, it's a big loss for the Raiders and an even bigger gain for the Commanders, who may look into drafting a quarterback in this draft. That could be the perfect match.
He's really good at his job, and I think it's a really big move for him to go to the Commanders, especially when they got one of those top picks for a quarterback. And the Raiders, I believe they're settling for Luke Getsy now for their offensive coordinator position, so he didn't look really good with the Bears, but maybe a change of scenery will help him out.
Joel Embiid is currently out for at least the next 4 weeks after a knee surgery due to an injury. Many people are blaming his injury on him feeling the need to play while not 100% due to the new major award game rule in the NBA. The rule states that a player must play at least 62 of the 82 games to be eligible for major awards including MVP and All-NBA. Do you still like the rule, or do you think it needs to be reevaluated now?
I still like the rule. Now, I don't like hearing that players are pushing themselves to play when they're not 100%, but I like what the rule's done for the NBA. I do think it's cut down on a lot of the sitting out that we might see. Now, I mean, you might could tell me, let's move around that game number a little bit, but I still like the rule.
You kind of like in the NFL, when you start missing 2 or 3 games, you really don't win the MVP. My issue is All-NBA a little bit, because if a player isn't on an All-NBA team, he becomes ineligible for the Supermax. So you start playing with their money. I think at least for a third team All-NBA, 65 games is enough to make that. And when you start playing with money, I think you have to be careful. But MVP, I think the rule needs to stay the same.
Switching gears back to the NFL, I gotta ask, is Mike Vrabel too jacked to be a head coach? It's reported that some NFL general managers might think so. Diana Russini reported talking to a GM that said Vrabel's 6'4", 260-pound frame is intimidating, and that it could have played a role in him not getting a coaching job this cycle.
I gotta know a little bit about the context of who is he intimidating, because I'm sure it's not the players, right? Is the GM or owner intimidated by his size? I think that's a ridiculous thing to kind of judge someone's character on, and I guarantee you teams are going to be missing out. And when we start looking at teams that may have not made the right decision at head coach, they'll be mentioning Mike Vrabel's name.
I just don't agree with it. It doesn't matter how big or small your coach is. If he does the job right, he does the job right. And Mike Vrabel has shown that he's one of the top coaches in this league.
I agree. Back on the hardwood, but in college, UNC sits on top of the Tobacco Road throne after defeating Duke last Saturday, 93-84. The win came behind Armando Bacot's 25-point double-double and Harrison Ingram's 21-point double-double. Both teams went into the game and came out of the game ranked in the AP poll top 10. UNC sits at 3, and Duke fell from 7 to 9. Does the game change the way you see the two teams as contenders?
Tell you what, I'm drinking the UNC Kool-Aid, and I might be a little biased, but I love the way that team looked against Duke. The mixture of older guys and newer guys on that team, they're gelling so well, and the way they push the ball on offense is the best I've seen in a while. Now, Duke, you know, I've got some biases. I'm not going to sit here and say they're frauds. I think they're going to be just fine when it comes to the end of the year, but we're going to have to see what's going to happen in March.
UNC right now looks great. They're set up very, very well for the rest of the season and the postseason. RJ Davis, I think, is the best guard in the country. And then you have Armando Bacot. Bacot said that the ACC runs through him. Still, great player, great team. I think they're contenders. Duke, they're having trouble beating the big teams. I think that plays a part when you look at Sweet 16, Elite 8, if they get that far.
Looking to soccer, as North America turns their eyes to the 2026 World Cup, excitement started to rise this week when dates and locations were released for the games. The United States topped the list with many different cities like Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, and Los Angeles hosting many important games, as well as New York getting the coveted final matchup. Cody, how excited are you for this epic event to come right here in our backyard?
It's going to be electric, and the sport of soccer has been growing exponentially in America more than any other sport over the last couple of years. That's only going to grow even more with the World Cup here. My one issue is the final being played in MetLife, and you're okay They're changing it from turf to grass for FIFA so that you can host the World Cup, but you won't do it for your own players. MetLife has become infamous for ACLs, for tons of injuries because of that turf. They've refused over and over to change it to grass. I expect them to change it to grass for this game, and then they're going to change it right back. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, and it shows a lack of integrity and respect for your players, and that's kind of thrown me off a little bit. Still going to be a great kind of match, great atmosphere, but it is very disappointing that the NFL or the stadium will do that for them, but not for their own players.
That's a great point, Cody. If you're going to put grass down for the World Cup, keep it down for your guys that are making you the money, that are playing on that field every week. I think that's a great point, and they should really do that. Also, I like MetLife to be the World Cup final. I think New York is like the crown jewel of America. I know a lot of people were saying it's in New Jersey, but hey, still a really good infrastructure there for a final matchup. Should be a great time for North American soccer.
That'll do it for us this evening. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of The A-Game.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at AppTVInsta.
I'm Grace Powers with App TV, and I'm here with the ultimate guide to App State for all of you brand new Mountaineers. Class is in session and campus life is back in full swing, so let me tell you everything you need to know to get prepared for a great fall semester. Starting your college career can be stressful. Getting involved in one of App State's clubs and student organizations is a great way to get involved and meet other students. With over 400 clubs and organizations to choose from, you're sure to find something that's right for you. The Club Expo happened this past weekend, but check out appstate.engage.edu to see a full list of clubs. And one of the best parts about being a Mountaineer, having the beautiful Appalachian Mountains right here in your backyard. Make the most out of your time here in Boone and get outside and become one with nature. There are activities for all adventure levels, from mountain biking and hiking trails to river rapids and rock climbing. You can even rent outdoor gear from the Student Rec Center with just the swipe of your app card. With a full class load and a brand new social setting, it's important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, especially your mental health. Counseling and psychological services are available to all students. The center offers individual and group counseling, as well as addiction treatment, help with eating concerns, and more. Call to schedule an appointment, or in the case of an emergency, a receptionist will connect you with a counselor as soon as possible. Your freshman year of college is a time full of opportunities. I asked several App State students what advice they would go back and give their freshman year selves.
If I could give a piece of advice to my freshman self, it'd be not to be afraid to go out and meet new people and to try new things and take advantage of most of your opportunities.
So I would say to my freshman self, I would definitely say just take your time, enjoy it, enjoy college life, get involved and just have fun. College is the best time and it's so much fun, and get involved and have fun. So
I'd probably, if I could give any piece of advice, I'd let my freshman self know to get out there more, get out of your dorm room, go do clubs or go just talk to people, because everyone's just as nervous and scared as you are. So don't be afraid to meet people and chat with people, because that's how you're going to make friends.
Well, I've given you the most important tips and tricks to have an incredible time here at App State. Now, all that's left is to make the most of your first year. I'm Grace Powers for App TV. Be sure to tune back into our regularly scheduled programming. You won't want to miss it.
Hi, my name is Melissa Weddle, and I'm Department Chair of Recreation Management and Physical Education at Appalachian State University. We offer 2 degree-granting programs, one in Recreation Management with a focus in Outdoor Experiential Education, Recreation and Park Management, and Commercial Recreation and Tourism. Our 2nd degree-granting program in Health, Physical Education, and Coaching offers teacher certification for public schools in health and physical education. You can get a minor or certificate in coaching. We are the front porch to the Beaver College of Health Science, where our focus is on quality of life, wellness, and physical activity. We're located in the beautiful mountains of Boone, North Carolina, so come join us, check out our website, or take a class.